of any previous summit where you had the leaders of France, Canada, the United States, and the leaders of the World Economic Forum speaking. That was like, he's now on the level of a head of state. The World Economic Forum is now on the level of a country. And not only that, but one of the leading countries, one of the most developed countries based on its membership in the G20. So he's up there calling for this radical transformation, doing his thing. And of course, all the leaders are bowing. The question is, they were also at the United Nations Summit in Egypt. There was John Kerry at a World Economic Forum event where John Kerry openly said, we're going to use the COVID template in order to, the same way we did to fight climate change. And they're borrowing from that. And this is where, of course, the Great Reset was activated by the COVID lockdowns beginning in March of 2020. This is what these decades-long plans by these people from everything going back to the New World Order, the Great Reset, now they were activated because they had the world just where they wanted them, in a crisis, emergency powers, crushing a democracy. And yes, this was the summit where I call it the Great Reset Summit, because you had the World Health Organization there, and their message couldn't have been clearer. Climate is the greatest health threat. They've already declared it the greatest health threat of the 21st century. And they believe that if climate is left unchecked, you will get more COVID-like viruses. So if you don't support the net zero, Green New Deal, UN climate agenda, you are a grandma killer, because that's going to lead to more runaway viruses. And of course, the World Economic Forum was there. And the biggest thing that come out of this was Al Gore and Google joined forces to come up with the Climate Trace Initiative, which is going to monitor 70,000+ individual CO2 emitters. We as humans inhale oxygen, exhale CO2. This is going to go after farms, businesses, factories, you name it. And this is a new Chinese social credit system. And we have a partnership now between international organizations, government, and these big corporations.
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth as you were saying that. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that just sounds like carbon social credit. And you said exactly that. We also heard John Kerry, the climate czar, saying that the green reset is going to be rolled out like the COVID vaccine. We noticed in the final sort of death throes of the pandemic scare that they moved into using this language now of climate change being a health issue. You have all these climate doctors saying the exact same things, and this strange push for net zero healthcare. And I just wonder where it ends. Do we start seeing people now as carbon budgets instead of patients, because they're seeing, you know, how they're seeing climate change as a major health scare now?
Well, it's the same dehumanization that occurred during COVID. You became a disease vector, every human. You needed to be masked, locked up, curfewed, put away. And if you didn't follow every order, you needed to be denied medical treatment and access to your own money. I mean, that's the template. So now with climate, they're going to do the same thing. And you have MasterCard and the UN last year announced their partnership for these climate carbon footprint monitoring credit card. In other words, if you spend money, that's going to monitor it. If you're buying meat, gas, putting your thermostat too high, spending money on energy bills, then whammo, it cuts off your ability to spend once you hit your carbon max. World Economic Forum praised this credit card. Visa this year is joining it. And now you have a study in the journal Nature calling for individual carbon footprint monitors. The World Economic Forum is developing an app that's going to monitor carbon footprints as well for people. This is treating us all as little disease vector / planet killers who need to be managed down to the lowest level of our thermostats, whether we can put meat in our mouth, what kind of cars we can drive, what kind of appliances we can have, when we can travel. The other scary thing to come out of this same thing, UN, G20, was the G20 agreement on the vaccine mandates, allowing the World Health Organization to tell us about our freedom of movement. We can travel if have we met all the Bill Gates funded scientists at the WHO's criteria for the COVID vaccines? And this is really frightening stuff. They couldn't get a pandemic treaty in, so they're gonna try an end around, just like they couldn't get the Green New Deal in the US passed, but they did an end around through every agency, became a climate agency, ESG, banking, and executive orders.
What you just saw was an excerpt from my nightly show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every weekday, I do a monologue. Usually it's about half an hour. Then I interview an interesting guest, and then we read my hate mail or my fan mail, whichever is more fun. It's only available behind a paywall, though. That's how we pay our bills here at Rebel News. We don't take a dime from Justin Trudeau. But the good news is it's only $8 a month, about half the price of Netflix. And in addition to my nightly show, you also get weekly shows from 4 other friends here at Rebel News. So you're getting 36 shows a month just for $8. I think it's worth it. And even if you're not quite sure, do it anyways, because we rely on viewers like you to keep us free and independent. I promise you I'll never take a dime from Trudeau. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com and click subscribe. Thanks.